Welcome back, fellow scrubs. I'm here. I'm back. How's the hand? Ain't that the question of the hour? I'm MarcDWyz. This is GameDevScrubs. We're working on Pocket Fighter EX today, community-based game, not affiliated with Capcom or SNK. Free fan game by the fans for the fans. And yeah, so if you hadn't heard, I kind of fell down the stairs from the second floor to the first floor, and my hand's not doing too great, but we're here anyway. I'm going to try to do things that don't require me to hold a controller or do anything complicated with my left hand. So yeah, it's it hurts, but I figure we can do a little bit of light work, do a little pixel art, do some low-key stuff, and pretty much go with that. Excuse me, I'm eating some chips because I'm hungry. The combos will tell. There ain't gonna be no combos here, buddy. Not like that. I can't. I particularly have a hard time moving it from right to left, so I can't do any like Tatsus. It's bad. I mean, I can play a little bit on keyboard. Because I'm using like a hitbox kind of layout, you know, with WASD. And I can press the space bar. I'm actually capable of pressing the space bar now. So that works. I'm really bad at it, so didn't even think I'd be streaming tonight. Can't even hold a knife at work if my hand gets hurt a little bit. Yeah, I'm doing things that don't really require the use of the hurty parts of my left hand. Use the stick with the feet. Yeah, I wish I was that talented. So we're just gonna work on a little stuff. You might have noticed one thing that we have changed is the animation for Terry's Power Max activation. So now he throws his arms up before he throws them down. That's pretty cool. Hey, I actually got that off. How about that? The hurty parts, yeah. I don't know how else to describe it. So I kind of like what hurts most is the thumb. So like rotating anything with the thumb, like using an analog stick on a controller, not happening. And it just kind of hurts all the time. Get serious sound effect, yeah. You can't even, I can barely hear it. Was it turned down? No, it's not. You know what? It's not turned down. What it is I think I have it. Yeah, I have it turned down here. So, and I got the music on mute, obviously, because we have a playlist going, so no reason to have the music on. I don't like listening to the music while I develop either. Like, it's good, like the music's great, but you don't want to hear it all day, every day for 8 hours a day, and then you'll just start to hate it. So, yeah, that's what we got. Now, we got one for Ken. So I just got the submission for that, and we're going to take a look at that, too. Yeah, there we go. That's a little... Ah, no. Ah! Gotta get used to my doubles. This is tough. Add air dashes? No. Unless Rashid gets in, then I guess we'll have an air dash, right? Or, what? Shune has one, right? From KOF 14? Doesn't he have an air dash? There we go. There, that's how we do it. No character confirms. It's funny, Pocket actually has a Shune sprite sheet, I think. Just out of curiosity, if you want to see it. Oh, I was thinking of like story mode enemies earlier. I was thinking like if you had like a Shadow guy with a jetpack, like he could fly up in the air and drop bombs. It'd be more like stage enemies, right? And then like you have like little culvert pipes, dudes coming out and shooting you. It was just stuff that I had thought about, and I just wanted to doodle it while I had the time. So I can't do anything too crazy right now. Street Fighter Contra. Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking like, because Shadow uses weapons mostly. Like they're not fighters, with the exception of like the big four or the big three. How many are there? Sagat, Balrog, Vega, and other Vega. Yeah, but there's only like there's 4 kings, right? There's only 3. Sagat, Vega, and Balrog, right? Or am I having like an aneurysm and I can't think of a... Yeah, Vega, and Vega, yeah. Claw, Dictator. Well, I mean, Dictator doesn't count. Or does he count? Well, he's the head. He's like the king of the kings, right? But the guys under him, you got Sagat, you got Claw, you got Boxer. And that's it. I mean, you technically have Fang, yeah. Right. But there's only 3 of the underlings, but there's only 1. I think they just include... They must include Dictator? And that's the 4? Yeah. So there's 5 total, right, yeah. Cammy counts? No, Cammy's just a doll. She's under the underlings. She's not a department leader or whatever they want to call him. Yeah. Well, anyway, let's see. I have some submissions. Oh no, they're in raw resources. Custom fighters with permission. Well, here's Pocket's stuff. Hey, who's that? Egg Roll FGC. Hey, I saw you on Twitter, right? Yeah, thanks for the follow, man. Yeah, June and July too. Yeah. Yeah, I saw what you were finding out with the game. I had to retweet that. That was pretty cool. So here's... Oh, I don't have it downloaded. Probably because I don't know, I'm not too hot on Shune, so I probably didn't think about even saving it. Yeah, Pocket did standalone sprites for Garou too. He did Alice. He did really good Alice. He actually did Alice in CVS 2 style as well, I think, which is crazy. I guess he really likes Alice. But it's good stuff though. He's the king of the pockets. And he's got code. This one's an older one. He has a Cody one, which is kind of cool. But no character confirmations. I'm just showing you what people have shown me and said, hey, you can use this if you want. I don't know where Shune is. I'd have to find it. New character leak? Yeah, no, not really. I don't mind Cody. I don't think that Cody would be at the top of my list for picks, but I don't dislike him. I think he's pretty cool. We'd have to add a lot of stuff though. There's some stuff missing here. What about Akuma? Well, as much as I'm saying that I'm not really even thinking about a season 2. Number one, I don't want to get myself locked into promises I don't want to necessarily keep after. I'm saying like, oh yeah, definitely, Cody's gonna be in, and then I rethink it and be like, you know what, maybe that wasn't the best choice, and then everybody's gonna get mad and then be like, you're a liar, you said Cody was gonna be in. But I think Akuma's inevitable. I don't think you can have a game like this and not get to Akuma. So I would put him in the inevitable category. He won't be part of the first 8, but I don't think we could get away without having it. Probably add a grappler before another show. We'll have a grappler in the second wave. Right now it's just the popular characters. Not that grapplers aren't necessarily popular, but they're not as popular as the others. Yeah, the card sprites are good. We just need, there's some animations that you would need to have, like rolling and other stuff for me to entertain that. Maybe I put the Shune in here. Did I put Shune in here? I might have mixed it in with the other one. S. No, I didn't. Oh well. It's somewhere. I probably just didn't download it. They're really good one though. It's really good. Needs more fighting waifus? Yeah. It'd be just waifu fighter. The ultimate fan service. It's in your top 5 favorite fighting games? That is very high praise. There's like no characters. It's just bro fighter right now. Well, we got Mai and Chun coming, right? Where's Chun? I had to do some animations for Chun because I wanted more of like her third strike. What's this one? Oh yeah. And you got her double punches. I had to animate this because she doesn't have it. Oh, I see a mistake. No, okay. It was zoomed out. I thought these two colors were the same. I'm going blind. I can't even tell the difference. Anyway, yeah, she doesn't have this in the Pocket games, so a lot of her third strike moves were not in the Pocket games. They based it more on Alpha Chun, which has very different animations. Yeah, Iori's the next one being added. I had to do this one. I thought this one came out pretty cool. So she has her neutral heavy kick. Yeah, this one. Most of you can probably hear this animation in your head. And she actually has this. We found out later she actually has this in the Pocket style, but I didn't like the way it looked. It looked very different. Again, they're using more like a alpha thing, and I wanted it to look like third strike, so I ended up with this. We could probably make Alex sprites. I would say that, just to be candid, I would probably lean toward putting Alex in as a Capcom grappler. I like Alex a lot. And I think because he's not just purely rotate the stick 3 times in a row, that he's a little more accessible, a little more interesting than the standard game. Oh, this is, yeah, the backdash. Yeah, her backdash in Match of the Millennium is just like her jump pose, and it's really boring, so we did that one. Oh, I love this one. I had a lot of fun making this one. The grab. So I really like the way she grabs in Street Fighter 4. So we ended up doing that. Replace Terry with Fem Terry? Yeah, right. It's not Gal Fighters. I can tell you that much. This was a fun one to do. I think it looks pretty good. It'll be hard to program, but it looks cool. Hey Wendy, what's up? Back grab. What is her back grab? Oh no, that's the same thing. Wait, I was gonna say. Wait, was one just? Oh, okay, that's the exported GIF file. Okay. Back heavy kick. I don't think we did too much to this one. I think we just touched up a thing or two. Yeah. Just wanted to animate it and see how it came out. So there's nothing too interesting there. And then heavy punch. Oh yeah. Made it look a little more like third strike. I'm not too happy with the way this one came out. Thinking I might redo this one. The more I look at it, the more I don't like it. I think it's accurate to a degree, but it might be too accurate where it doesn't work so much in this style, and modifications will have to be made for it to look better. Yeah, show spinning bird. How's the hand? Not great. Will parties be included? Party? What party? Party? We having a party? We're having a party right now. Yeah, I'll show the... We did the data dump on her sprites. There wasn't anything that we found that was unused, but there are ones that people commonly miss. I think her alpha counter is the one where she pushes with her hands. That was the one I said it does exist, but I didn't like the way it looked. Where is that one? You met Perry's? I figured. Yeah, I'll get into Perry's in a second. I will not be including them, but there is a reason for that. Where is that animation? Where is it? Am I blind? Am I just missing it? Or is it up at the top? Nope, it's not at the top. Usually those ones are at the bottom. They usually add the alpha counters last. So here's her super. Her win, her taunt. Where is it? I don't see it. Anyway, here's Spinning Bird. Right here. Where is that one? Lightning legs, her alpha kick in the air super, not super special. Well, it's a super too. Oh, here it is. See, I don't know. This looks more like she's shoving them as opposed to doing a palm strike. I just don't like the way it looks. So, I don't know. I redrew it. She's like saying, hold up. Yeah, what's the program am I using? It looks so simple compared to Mugen or GameMaker. Well, this in particular, this is just Sprite for pixel stuff. What are you doing, chicken? Sit down. Chicken's pacing back and forth on the back of my chair. I don't know what she wants. This is just Sprite. This is just for pixel art, but the actual game's done in Unity. Which, it's much more complicated than Mugen, but it's much more flexible, we'll put it that way. Mugen did all the hard work for you, we'll put it that way. Shoot, what were we talking about? Oh, parries. You want to know about parries. Parries are not going to be included. And the reason is pretty simple. It's not that they can't be included, but I don't think it makes sense to include them. And the reason that I say that, yeah, right, in Mugen you're just scripting that you're not coding, right? No parries, cry. Well, the reason is because of all the other, shoot, I don't know if I can do this with my broken hand here. Ah! There it is. Well, I guess that one in particular doesn't work too well. It's hard to do this. I don't have a gaming keyboard, so I have to input my alpha counters in a specific way to get them to even work. Yeah. Okay. So we have alpha counters, and we also have armored moves for when we're in armor mode. We also have, as you can see, when Ken gets thrown, you have rolls. You have forward and back rolls. You have delayed and normal wake up. Or rather, I should say you have quick rise and normal rise. But you also have, as long as it's not a hard knockdown, you have the rolls and things like that. So what I'm trying to get at is that there's a lot of Oh, no parties. Yeah, no parties. No parties. Yeah, that's the other thing. I'll get to that too about the fireballs. Oh, and you also have rolls, right? So what I'm trying to get at is that there's a lot of defensive stuff already, and you can still do stuff even on block. If I can get it to work again. I can't. See, if you don't have a gaming keyboard, you can't press a lot of things at once. So I'm holding down back and I'm pressing heavy punch and heavy kick, and you notice nothing's coming out. So what you have to do is you have to kind of like you gotta kind of like plink the down back into the max there. And of course he did a jab, so it didn't counter because it was too quick. But it's kind of a weird motion because you have to release the down back while you're holding the other ones, and it's just weird. It's weird timing. So go out and get yourself a gaming keyboard if you're gonna play this with a keyboard, because it don't work right. I can't do it. I can't do it with my broken hands. Maybe, all right. It's not a complicated move, right? So I might be able to do it with the controller. Yeah, there we go. The problem is there's two different ones. If you hold forward, you get a different one, right? So, okay, that hurts. I'm not doing that anymore. That actually hurts a lot. But you get the idea. So we got alpha counters, we got rolls, we've got different wake up timings, we got all this stuff. So think about how parries are used specifically in like games like Third Strike. You know, parry is really, really, really good because you can't do shit on wake up. You don't have invincible DPs without meter. Yeah, power dunk. He always flips his cat backwards. Power dunk, at least in the old games. Yeah, he does it in 98 for sure. I'm pretty sure he does it in all the sprite-based KOFs. He doesn't have dunk in 13, so probably not that one. But all the old style, I believe he does. So in Third Strike, sometimes you just can't get out of anything unless you do parry. You don't. I mean, you've got to roll back. I don't know if you've got to roll forward or not. But if you're locked down in the corner, you know, it's you have the option to block, to try to attack. Maybe you need to tech a grab, which I guess is a little in high level Third Strike. I guess there's a lot of cases where you can kind of option select that anyway. But anyway, the point is, parry is really good because it's a high reward, but it's a high risk because there's not a lot of other things you can do. So you know what I mean? You're not getting out of Urian's horse shit without parries. Yeah, well, that's the thing. So there's a lot of stuff that you can do in Pocket Fighter EX to get out of some of these situations that you traditionally wouldn't be able to in Third Strike. And so if you think about it, why wouldn't you, because you have alpha counters, right? Why wouldn't you just block? And then if they try to meet you, then alpha counter it and get them off you. As opposed to parrying, which, okay, you might be able to maybe get a combo off of instead, but would you take that risk? Or would you just hold down back, you know, and either deal with the throw versus, you know, using the alpha counter to get them off you? I mean, plus whatever mind games you want to use with the alpha counter, like, you know, you saw that Ken jabbed, so Terry wasn't able to do anything about that. But you see what I mean? There's so many other options here. Or like rolling on wake up instead of getting up normal. Like we would use all those other things. But parry is so damn risky because you leave yourself completely wide open, you know what I mean? So why would you ever want to use parries? Seriously, in a serious match, why would you ever want to use parries? I like the way Tekken handles it with Asuka, where it's more like a punch or kick counter grab, and doing it raw leaves you open. Yeah. So Ryu's got a parry, This is gonna be really hard. Let's see. Okay. I'm not getting into hurt territory here. But let's see. What is? Oh no, Terry's. No, Terry uses his kick. He's programmed to do kick. You can prevent chip damage by going into armor mode if you want to prevent chip. But yeah, so Ryu is the only one that actually has an actual parry, but it gives you a full crumple combo, so you know, you can do stuff with that. But yeah, like I said, you can use alpha counters to get out of these kinds of situations already. And if you think that they're going to do some kind of unblockable move, well, then you can just kind of roll. Oh, hold on. Roll. There you go. You can just roll. And you could do a delayed roll, or, you know, something like that. Or you can use an EX that has full invincibility. Now, here's the thing with Kaku Fubatsu, that's how you use the parry. You have to spend 2 bars to stock it. And then, so down here you've got the stock, and until you use it, but if you use it, it's gone. So it's kind of scary, but at the same time, you gotta make sure that you're gonna get it. I messed it up, but I'm not expecting to do any full combos using keyboard. Why is it not an instant parry? Because the super flash here signals that you're gonna do it. So in a situation where you think they're going to throw something, there's no way they can react to that. But if you do this, maybe you did it too early, right? And then they saw it and they stopped attacking. Or they did something, I don't know, they get themselves out of it. I don't know if they would be able to at that point. But if they had just not pressed the button, or pressed the button just before you did the super freeze, then it's kind of useless. And it's part of the criticism that people had of Kami's Ultra 2 in Street Fighter 4. Because the time stop happens, the super freeze happens. It's like, okay, well, I'm not going to press any button. Also, and you just gave yourself completely away. I'm going to run up and destroy you. Where if you did it, you know, out in the middle of nowhere, you can recover in time for Terry not to just blow you out of the water. You know what I mean? They might have more of a chance to hit you if the super freeze happens. And then say they didn't press a button, or they pressed a light button and they recovered fast and did it. Now that's not to say you can go right into it if you want to. You can cancel the super animation into it. It wasn't far enough. You can cancel the super animation into it if you really want to. If you catch them in the super freeze and it's working, then just do it, right? But you don't have to. And so the charge only lasts 1 round. So if you don't use it, then it goes away. Nope, I did it too early. I think it's only got 10 or 11 frames of active. You gotta time it pretty good. Yeah, it's kind of a parry slash focus, yeah. Although it'll catch anything in the air and bring them down. So it works a lot like if Kaku Fubatsu in Street Fighter V ended up like a focus attack. So in Street Fighter V, when Ryu gets to Kaku Fubatsu, I mean, he can do a whole bunch of them. He doesn't just get 1 shot at it. But if he lands it, it pulls him down, and you get like just to show you, or a small little combo out of it. Like, you can't do too much. But here it just completely crumples you. You have full reign to just unleash. But that's also because it's a 1-shot move. And then if you don't want to do a custom combo, you can do an extension to it. And so that's kind of like, because it doesn't have a 3-bar incarnation, right? Because it's just a utility super. That was my way of being able to give you 3 bars of damage, so to speak. Like I have it, like that's a level 3 version of it, if you want to spend it all. But you can get way more damage doing your own combo. That I want to make clear. See, you can already see that's already more. And I did spend that extra EX or whatever, but I can't do any advanced combos when my hand's hurting though. So you'll have to use your imagination. Oh yeah, that's the other thing too. If you use it, say you activate it right at the beginning of the match, you can continue to build meter in the meantime. So yeah, you can do some wacky stuff. What are you doing, chicken? So here, I have oh no, did I screw it up? Oh, here we go. I have a level 3 waiting for him, you know what I mean? Just do crouching, light kick, get hit. Oh yeah, your thing that you shared on Twitter, yeah. I didn't even need the max mode for that one. But yeah, you can again, you can just build meter back up and just wait for it. You can go into max modes, do all sorts of stuff. And then just get them. So there's a lot of stuff you can do. Hey Deku Star, what's up? It's been a while. But it covers you completely. High, low, air. It'll catch everything. So it's kind of more like Street Fighter V's version of the parry. But you do have to use meter for it. So. Right. Yeah. Yeah. So what Tim's saying, activate it right at the start. Go into armor mode, and you get more. Meter off of blocking than you normally do. Normally it's just a little bit, but and oh, I got it already. And boom, that's it. You know, you got him. Ryu's got a lot of deadly stuff, but they're more of like for countering people. And for like punishing, he has the highest punishing moves in the game. So that's hard to do here. So if we compare damage here, and we'll put Terry in. Oop. Boom. So that's 132 normal. Or 132, there you go. 132 counter hit damage, and normal is 110. And it's because the counter hit only happens on the first hit, right? Of your attack. So if it does like multiple hits, only the first hit's gonna get applied to. And it's a 20% damage increase. So because Ryu has mostly single hit moves, if any of them are a counter hit, he gets a huge damage boost off of it. Because he doesn't do multiple hit moves for the most part. Like he's got a couple, like this. But, you know, that's only one. Oh, that might be hard to hit. Yeah, that's a pretty good, that's a pretty good stuffer for that. But here we go. So 114 on counter hit, but 95 on normal. Like, you see what I mean? Dick says, yeah, I just wanted to drop in and say hi because I'm going back to school tomorrow. Because, oh no, you tested positive for COVID. Holy shit. Are you okay now? I mean, I guess you said 2 weeks ago, right? And that's amount of time it takes to get it out of your system. So I'm guessing you're okay, but let me know. I want a confirmation on that. Yeah, parry does catch lows. Yes. Jesus. Man, I hope it didn't hit you too bad. Some people it doesn't hit too bad. Some people it really kills them. You were fine the entire time? Oh, thank God. Yeah, it's scary. You don't know. Sometimes it just murders people, like out of nowhere. Oh, good. Well, I'm glad you're all right. Didn't lose your taste or anything. Hey, you count yourself amongst the lucky, man. How would you fight Ryu if all your attacks are potentially countered? Do you bait him into using it? Or use things that can't be countered? Projectiles can't be parried with this move. It's only physical attacks. Can't perfect the guy. Yeah, have a good one, man. Stop back again when you can. Oh, that didn't work. That didn't work either. Ah, I can't do this one. I can't do this with keyboard. I need my left hand. I need to use a pad or stick or something. See comment above. What's the point of doing a big combo and wasting meter opportunities when you can just do max mode and then raw heavy DP and to ensure you can? Well, let's see. I'm gonna read that again. Make sure I understand what I'm asking. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, if you're already in Power Max, wrong button. You can already do some big heavy shit, right? But there's a couple counterbalances here. One is, it's kind of like, well, think of it this way, because you get scaling, obviously, the more hits that you have on the character. So you would say, like, why would you want to do something like a big ol'... I can't do it with my hand, right? Why would you want to do a big, huge, giant, super combo, then go into Power Max and continue the combo and do all that? There's a few cases for that. One is to just end a round. You say you've got him, you're a neutral, you've got your Power Max ready, and they do something stupid, and you're like, oh no, you're done, and then you unload everything, right? When you do your whole thing, you basically a hyper confirm. It's like, oh yeah, no, you're done. I got you now. You know what I mean? So that's one use of it. But the other thing is to, you can maximize your damage and all that. But the problem with doing that, there's a couple counterbalances. One is that when you do a cancel like that, your time that you can spend in Power Max is decreased by half. But the other thing is, if you use a super, Power Max is gone. And so, yeah, you can't just sit in Power Max and do other stuff. Or you get a little bit of stuff and then you want to harass people, right? You want to use your abilities and start harassing people. Well, yeah, that's the thing. Here's the thing though, because of the scaling, you won't necessarily get you won't get the huge damage if like, see, you do this. Hold on. You have to forgive me. My hand's almost broken here. You see the damage on that's not very big, right? Is that what you're saying? Why would you ever want to do that? It would be like if you're closing it out on the round, you know, closing the round out or whatever. But what if you just want to do this, and then now it's an easy way to get into Power Max, and you can do your shenanigans and whatever. So here's the thing: you can't do that cancel, right? Unless you're not already in it. So you can't get that basically confirmed hit. So if I do that, it's like, oh yeah, I absolutely know that I've got something because I saw the time freeze, right? And then, but if you're already in it, you don't have that. You can't cancel. You can't cancel when you're in it. So you have to do the normal stuff to get into the... And yeah, it does way higher damage if you're already in it, but you don't have the cancel to like really confirm all that stuff. You have to do confirms normally with the moves that you have. So that's kind of like the counterbalance. It's like, yeah, you could blow them up. You could absolutely blow them up all the way to the moon with a Power Max Shinsho Raw, but like, yeah, you know what I mean? But you gotta do it on your own. You can't just walk up and be like, oh, hey, look, got it. You know? Obviously, you take a little bit of a penalty there. And Shinsho's got a lot of power to it, so it still does a hell of a lot of damage. But you get what I mean? Oh, I couldn't get it out. Keyboard's awful. So sure, that, but you know what I mean? Boom, and it does more damage. That's kind of how it's balanced in that way. Does that answer the question, or am I missing something? There are technically you can Kara into grabs, but that's more of a 2-button simultaneous 2-button press, so you don't have to press them on the same frame. But otherwise, nothing more interesting than that. The EX moves work on the same principle. If you here, I didn't have to hit them on the same frame. That's technically programmed as a Kara, but it's not particularly useful other than the fact that you don't have to press things on the same frame. You get up to 3 frames to press the 2 buttons together. So either on the same frame or the next subsequent 2. Yeah, I didn't intend to do anything past that. I'm not really sure if that's all a glitch or not. If the way it's used in Third Strike, if it's a glitch. I know they brought back an intentional one for Sagat, where he can, in Street Fighter V, where I guess he can, is it crouching sweep? And then he can kind of like cancel that into a DP without having hit. But I'm not doing anything intentional like that. I think a lot of the reason that those existed in Third Strike was simply that they didn't have to add an input buffer to get 2-button presses, and then I think it resulted in glitches. That would be my opinion. I don't know. I don't have any developer interviews or whatever to go by, but I think it was mostly glitches pertaining to them allowing like command moves, command normals to happen a couple frames into the normal, so you don't have to, or maybe special cancels or whatever, to make it a little easier to activate certain moves. So in this case, the way it works here is that I got 1-2 frames of the heavy punch, but then if I do put the light punch in at the same time, I can get the grab. Oh, and just to be clear, the grab command has changed in the current version. The public version, it's light punch, light kick, but that's now roll on its own without needing to run. And then 2 punches or 2 kicks will get you the grab. It doesn't matter which one you use, whether it's the kicks, it's the same grab either way. it's just preference on what you want to press. Scott can damn near half screen anti-air tiger uppercut if anti-airs didn't suck at Street Fighter 5. Yeah, he can, right? Because he kind of like lunges in, or he's stepping in with his kick or something, and then you cancel it into that. I mean, it takes more time obviously to do it, but yeah, it's very powerful if you do that. So hopefully that successfully answers all that. So yeah, I think going back to parries just for a second, I think there are very few edge cases where parries would be uniquely effective over other types of defensive options. But I think cluttering the game with tons and tons of mechanics, if they're only very useful in very specific small cases, I don't think is the right move. Because when everybody sees parries, they're like, oh, it's got parries, and they're going to try to do them all the time thinking that they're good, if they don't know any better. And it's kind of like, if it's going to be there, you should have it be you should have it be useful in a wider scale than just a few unique situations. So it's not like it wouldn't fit at all in any situation in this game, but there's so few cases where it would that I would be worried that people would just get overloaded with mechanics and things like that. And then also, like I think Variant X said earlier, that it also kind of downplays your fireball game. So here, you know, you can do the Hadokens and you just have to deal with them. You know what I mean? And that's where I give you options like rolling and stuff too. So you have ways around these things, they're just different. And part of that's because SNK stuff. SNK's got rolling, and that's kind of how their characters deal with, you know, projectile oppression. They can just go boop, and we're through. Unless they're too close, and then you could get someone to do a roll by faking them out, and then the roll is vulnerable at the end, and then you get hit, you know? So there's a whole mind game to that whole thing. And that's just the way I chose to go about it. Start hopping? No short hops. I think if we went and added short hops into this game, it would turn into basically King of Fighters with like Capcom characters. And that's not what I'm trying to do. No, not even from Run. I think people would they would just double tap hyper hop the whole fucking time. Yeah, that's the thing. Cause yeah, you've also got the super jump to deal with more fireball stuff. So if you know Terry's throwing stuff or Ryu's throwing stuff, you could just whoop, you know, and you get good clearance, and you can come in, you know. But yeah, I think if we added hops, we'd be basically just a stone's throw away from just being KOF at that point. And I want to do something that's a mixture of the two styles in one cohesive groove or system. I don't want to have grooves necessarily, because inevitably, as fun and interesting as grooves are, what's that? Let's say you want to talk? I don't know if you heard the chicken start making noise. What do you want? What do you want? Nothing? I don't know what she wanted. She just started making noise. But inevitably, you'll have one groove take priority over the others. So in CVS2, you've got 6 grooves, but which ones are actually used? Well, it's pretty much just a groove, and then sometimes K groove. And then everything else is kind of inferior there. So you do run the risk of doing that if you have different stuff. So I wanted to try to get a system that you can use both styles of like defensive and offensive but you can choose them on the fly, right? And that's where the max modes came from. So they're kind of like temporary grooves that you can get into, and they grant you different abilities. So like Ryu gets the dungeons, and in armor mode he gets, oh, if he'll attack me here. Oh wait, I didn't do armor mode. Right. In armor mode he gets the armored solar plexus, things like that, and the alpha counter. Yeah, so you can play the character in different styles. You can say, oh, I need to be defensive with Terry, so I'm going to use armor max more in that fight. But then Ken comes along and you're like, oh, I want to be offensive with Ken, so I'm going to turn up the heat and use my power max ability. You can kind of sort of change your groove on the fly, I guess would be the way to think about it. So depending on how you want to play that character, or even in cases where it's like, say in CVS2, you're like, well, I would really love to play a K-Groove Ken for whatever reason, but I also want to play in A-Groove Akuma, but I can't. I have to choose between the two, right? You have to have one groove for your entire team. But in this case, you could say, hey, I really want to play Power Max Ryu, right? I really like Power Max with Ryu, and I want to use that ability. But then in the next battle, it's like, oh, now I'm Terry, and I want to use Armor Max Terry because I like Terry's Armor Max abilities, or I feel that more suits my playstyle or whatever. You don't have to choose exclusively between the two. You can choose them on the fly. Or even, you know, you start off the battle, you start off the round, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm in Power Max, this is great, or whatever. And then all of a sudden, oh, we're not doing so well. Maybe we should go into Armor Max and switch it up, you know, mid-round or whatever. So I think there's a lot of depth in that kind of thing, and a lot of ways to play the character how you want to play by choosing what max modes you want to use per character in the heat of the moment, as opposed to having to select ahead of time. And so that was the mentality that went into it. I want grooves, but I don't want them to be rigid. So the Power Max and the Armor Max are basically kind of the grooves in a way. Like, they don't change how you get meter and stuff, but they do change your properties of the character. And one's more offensive and defensive and stuff. And you can just choose what to use whenever you want. Add a speed max. Down plus max and it's blue. maybe for Super Pocket Fighter EX, right? You know, eventually we'll just make a new. No, I'm kidding. Don't quote me on that. Don't quote me on that. I don't know what would a speed max do. What do you think a speed max would actually do? Like, obviously it would increase your movement speed. But like, what else would it do? Well, I was gonna say, yeah, does it increase just your movement speed, or does it increase the speed of your attacks completely? You want hops? Speed max gives you hops. Yeah, you could potentially chain more moves together. Yes, that's what you want. No, denied. Speed max with hops. You realize that would just be the one that everybody would use at that point. At least the KOF veterans dash hops. You'd have to do a damage nerf. I was thinking the same thing. Or maybe scale it higher. You could do more scaling. Better rolling. Oh, that was the other thing. Now that we have rolling on just 2 buttons without having to run first, I kind of wondered if running. Oh jeez, I can't. There we go. If running into the roll would actually maybe make you roll farther. In KOF, as far as I'm aware, that actually gives you a little bit of extra distance. If you run and then do a roll, it actually gives you extra distance. I don't know. I'm not sure if it's necessary. Like, Ken's got a really long roll, but Ryu's is pretty just normal. Because Ryu's, like, Ken's trying to get in, right? He wants to get really close to you. So he has, he's got a longer roll than Ryu does. And I think Terry's is pretty average as well. But Ryu's not really looking necessarily to get in on people. But yeah, you see how this one goes much farther? You want speed max for Cammy. I see where you're getting at there, because yeah, Cammy's attribute is speed, right? It's not power, or it's not defensive, but hers, you would say that her real like element or attribute is speed. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I don't know. I'll think about it. I'm not sure if there's room, if there's enough abilities to add to it that won't also break the game, right? So I don't know. It's a thought, or something I never really thought about. Oh yeah, that's the other thing that we changed recently. So you can do so watch the meter. So I've got full time, right, and it's going down. You can do an alpha counter now, and it takes half your bar away in time to do it. You could potentially get 2 of them. Now you can do one to get into it, the mode, but that's half your time's gone, right? So notice it took all my remaining time left. Because when you do it here, it takes half your bar to do the cancel already. So as long as you have some bar left, you can do it. And then that way, you can get 2 here as well. Oh, getting better doing the thing with the keyboard. There's a glitch now where it takes an additional meter of max when you do the cancel in max mode, and I still have to fix that, but that's not intended. So you should have 1 more bar max still left after that. I don't know if that will be too OP or not to allow it while you're in mode, but it is something that people have suggested to try, and I agree that it might be something really interesting. Fighting EX Slayer, how momentum carries into combos if you run. Oh, I see, for like a theoretical speed max thing. That would be interesting. So yeah, if you were to run, then you would still be sliding when you hit the punch button. Yeah, I know what you mean now. Yeah, it's actually interesting ideas. But if a potential speed max ever happened, it'll be quite a while. I'd have to really think about that, how that would work. It's a fighting game with a Mario slide. Yeah, it's kind of like wave dashing, right? Yeah. I thought that was really neat about fighting EX Slayer, though. Fireball is flying faster, moves going further. Oh! You just want it to be the ultimate install, right? It'd be interesting. I'll think about the concept. I can't promise anything, but I'll at least think about it. I also worry about again, mechanical clutter at that point. Would adding the third one be too much to think about all at once? Yeah, that's what I was saying. It would be a major shakeup. That's why I'd be kind of like, maybe I'll add this in like a season 3. I don't know, to keep the game alive. It's something to think about. At this point, I feel like the mechanics in the game have a very good chemistry with one another, a synergy, I guess you would say. And so when the new version comes out with the online, I want to see how that performs. There's some stuff I got in my head that I'm like, I don't know if I want to keep this or maybe tweak this a little bit, but I want to see people play matches first. Because without that, I'm just kind of theorizing, right? And you just sometimes don't know how something's going to play out initially. Well, the other thing too to think about is that people's power max abilities could enable them to do things that are speedy. You know what I mean? So if there's speed, just for the sake of argument, we're going to entertain Cammy. Just so say if Cammy goes into power max, maybe that does add a little bit of range on some of her special moves or something like that. You know what I mean? You can absolutely have that kind of nuance because each power max does something a little bit different. So you could emphasize speed there. So in this way, Ken's power max emphasizes pressure because his crazy kick cancels. See here, he can't do it. Oh, that's a glitch. That one shouldn't work. But let's take this one for example. This crazy kick, it cannot connect with the second overhead part. But it can here. And so his thing's focused on pressure and having safe options. So the other thing is that on block, that's not safe, right? It's an overhead, not safe. You can make it safe, but it's not safe normally. However, it is safe on block in Power Max. Right? And that's also why here, not only does it connect as a block string, but it is safe. And that enhances Ken's abilities to pressure people in the corner. You can start to get away with more stuff. How you doing, people? Sit down. Calm down. Chicken's walking around. Freaking out. So normally not a problem, but she's sitting at the top of my chair, and it's just kind of annoying. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Yeah, sit there. That's fine. Alright. Keep her calm. You want down? Come here. Come here. Come here. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What do you want? Do you want to get down? You just keep pacing. You keep pacing. What? What do you want? Here, alright, let's go down. Come on. Let's go down. Okay, go eat her something. Go on. Chicken time. Yep, it's the burb. It's the chicken. Peeper, as we call her. How's Cammy looking for a Pocket Fighter EX contender? Ask Tim. I think Tim might assassinate me in my sleep if I don't add her. That's his main. He'd be real mad if I don't. Yeah, we got a chicken. It's kind of a house chicken. It doesn't want to go outside. It likes staying inside. Yeah, Varinex knows. You got chickens, Varinex? Or you know someone's got chickens? Yeah, this one, the mother died. And so we took her in and raised her. But now she likes people and not so much the other chickens, so she just comes in the house. Guess she thinks she's a part of the human flock or something. Yeah, so she keeps coming back in. We'll take her out during the day and whatnot, but she'll come in at night. Anyway, well, oh yeah. Tim will probably kill me if I don't add Cammy at some point. That's his main. That's his girl. So I guess Cammy has a pretty decent shot to make it into the next set. Yardbirds? Yeah, Rooster used to wake my ass up At the crack of dawn, though. Oh, yeah, here's the misconception about roosters. People think, oh, roosters, they crow in the morning, right, when the sun rises? No, they crow all the time. Unless they're sleeping, they're always doing that. They're always shouting out, and they're really, really loud, like super loud. You get used to it after a while, but yeah, and they'll crow before the sun gets up too. Don't think you're gonna get away. It's about like 4:30, 5 o'clock. They're already yakking. So if you're a light sleeper, they will absolutely wake you up. They're super loud. But yeah, let's see. What else are we talking about here? Got sidetracked with the bird, and I kind of lost my place here. I will say, yeah, the other thing is when you're in constant pain, it's hard to actually keep focus on something. It's hard to keep your thoughts straight. That's another issue with my hand being screwed up. The roosters wake the sun up. Yeah. Yeah, it's not the other way around. The roosters get the sun up. Absolutely. I can attest to that. They'll also, if they get woken up in the middle of the night, they get spooked real easy. They're very scared. Very nervous kind of birds. They'll start doing the crowing at night too. But usually they just do it a couple times and then they go back to sleep. So oh yeah, Power Max abilities. So yeah, Ken's is like way different than Ryu's, right? That's what I was talking about. So he gets a lot of pressure off of the stuff. Oh wait, no, because he's on wake up, right? And see, that whole thing there is a hit string. So you kind of don't have to worry about it. Now, it's not a block string, though. There is a gap between those two moves, between this one and this one. However, there is not a gap between those two. So that's your real safe string there. But the reason is because if this hit... Oops, I forgot the block. If this hits, it's a knockdown, so you can't do anything after it. But where if this hits, you can go into any special or super. So it's a lot more powerful. That was the idea for that. Yeah, and then so Ryu, I guess the second part I was going to say is Ryu's is focused completely different. So Ryu's is all about zoning and projectiles and stun. So look at his stun already. He's got really high stun on those moves. So when you use Ryu's Power Max, there's a few things you can do to kind of fake the opponent out. Because you can release the charge whenever you want, right? Up until a point. Like, you can't hold it forever. And then the amount of stun it does increases substantially. So a full charge does almost half a bar of stun. And the level 2 charge does a respectable amount of stun too. Like, look how much. And then basically you've got him at that point. But of course you're battling, right, in the meantime. So you're going back and forth and you're doing stuff. And then you hit him with that and boom, you know, you've got him. So his whole focus in Power Max is very tuned toward his abilities and toward his goals. Ryu inflicts a lot of stun. He's got the Denjins, he can fake you out. And he can cancel them too. Well, you can do a real fake out. Not just holding it. It's not whether I'm going to release it quick or late, because you can absolutely do that, but you can just cancel it altogether. You can backdash cancel it and get out of it. And so if somebody was going to do, like, jump over it, you could backdash and anti-air, right? I'm trying to do a show you. I can't do it with my left hand. I'm sorry. It hurts too much even with the keyboard. I can't go wild on it. That hurts the least though. It's not too bad using the keyboard, but I absolutely can't use the pad. But you get the idea. Can you cancel sweep into charge? Yes, you can. Oh, I was gonna throw an EX then. Yep, you can absolutely do that. You can do it, of course, normally as well. And both Ken and Ryu have that ability. See? And of course you can do it there too. And you can backdash and do all the nifty stuff. There are some setups where you can force them to take a full charge. Look how much damage, or how much stun that does. You have to use 2 bars and a max. It's really powerful, but you do have to use a lot of resources to do it, right? But, you know, say you're in the middle of battle. Oh, I know it was too close. It's only at a specific distance that you can get away with it. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Right, and then boom, and you've got the stun, and you've got potentially the kill, but I can't do too good on keyboard. But you get what I mean. So there's a lot of stuff you can do, for sure. If they're gonna guard the whole time, you can guard break with it. Only the level 3 guard breaks though, right? So there's a bit of stuff you can do, but it's a really good guard break because you can actually belt them after. So let's take away his wake up. You can actually do stuff after it. Yeah, you can. I'm sorry. Yeah, you can power max that, but you gotta wait till it disappears, right? And then you can do it. You can't start charging until the first one's disappeared. Hey, who's that? Eric the Oni, thank you for the follow, man. I know that this is probably delayed. You probably showed the name first, but yeah, you can only have one projectile on stream unless you're gonna do a super. So if you wanted to follow it up with a super, that's different. But it has to. So here, if I do that, you can't. Yeah. You can cancel normal Hadokens into supers as well, and dungeons. So if they are going to guard like that, you can even do it like this. Oh, did I actually stop? Oh, maybe I didn't charge it enough. Yeah, I think that actually guard broke him. I think I didn't charge it enough when I first did it. But probably the safer way to go would be to see if it guard breaks first, and then you have time to shoot the fireball, right? So you're alright. And that way they can't screw with you even at big distances of the screen. So getting hit by it is a real threat. And if they're anywhere close, you can get in close and then do more damage. So it's a real threat. I may, you know, obviously change or think about the amount of stun that you can do from different distances, but I feel like if you don't have it doing that kind of damage and that kind of threat, that people aren't going to take it very seriously, or it's not going to be powerful enough for people to care about, you know? So, I don't know, we'll see. Again, that comes down to how are we going to do the testing, you know, and see how things actually play out. Maybe Denjin's complete crap and I just don't see it, but I think it should be alright. But I want to, you know, I want the abilities to be really good. I don't want them to be crappy. I don't want them to... Two things with the abilities is that, one, I don't want them to be things that have particularly been removed from the character in order to make it interesting. Like, it should be something on top of their typical gameplay. I don't want to run into a thing where it's like, oh, we put Karine in the game, or Karen, whatever we want to call her, and we took away her Rekkas and walked them behind Power Max. It's like, nah, no, we should have the Rekkas. And then invent something new in Power Max to go on top of that. In this case, instead of giving Denjin its own super, we don't cut back on supers, but we'll use that as the Power Max ability. What if they have taller hitboxes? You mean the Hadokens? They don't. The supers do. So, oh, sorry, not that one. Hitboxes. Right, so here's the Hadokens, but the supers got bigger ones. But no, the Denjins do not have bigger ones, and that's to kind of keep them from being like too crazy. So even the full power one, I think, has the same hitbox. Yeah, it's the same. Because they're still just special versions, you know? Then it's not like they're supers. I think if they were bigger, that it would be maybe a little too out of balance. Because you really want to put some meter into it if you're going to make something big, you know? Let's see. Part of the reason that the hitboxes on the supers are a little bigger is so that you can do this with them. And that those will actually hit without having to do like a light show you. And this one's of course also, that one barely hits. But they're all doable from that. That's kind of Ryu's max combo, you know what I mean? Does Denjin Hadoken have to be fully charged to be unblockable? No. Right, it does not. And I'll show you, I still have to add a couple effects, but this one's on the programming side, that's why I haven't added it yet. If you notice, there's 3 different stages, right? So there's no spark, little spark, big spark in his hands. So if you just do it normally, there's no, it's not charged. You can charge, like, try to charge just a little bit, but it still only results in a level 1 fireball. Now, small spark is the level 2. It does 2 hits, does good stun, but does not guard break. Big spark, when there's a big spark in his hands, that's when you can unleash the guard break. And you don't have to wait. You can hold it longer if you want, but you don't have to wait. As long as you see that big spark, go for it. And what I want to do is I want to make Ryu flash white when that happens. Every time that he goes to the next stage and gets a bigger spark, I want him to flash. But I haven't programmed that in yet. And that'll be a better indicator instead of having to stare at his hands, you know what I mean? You can just look at Ryu's whole body flashing. So there's a timing to it too, so if you get the timing down, you can do them quicker than other people. And then if you think that you need to wait, you can hold it for like a quarter second, half second later. So it gives you a little extra time. Both increases the skill gap, so that if you know the timing, you can unleash it faster. And then also gives you a little more leeway with how you want to time things. So if someone did something really dumb and they flew up into the sky and you don't want to release it till they hit the ground, you can do something like that. In Third Strike, it was completely unblockable. Period. And so the game, the sort of mind game in Third Strike was how much stun is it going to do when it hits you. So if you notice that in this version, if it guard breaks you, you do not get hit. You just get opened up, but it doesn't stun you. Not like when you get hit. If you get hit, you don't block it, it's going to stun you, or get you very close to stun, because you can just keep doing them over and over. But if you block it, you do not get any of the stun, even though you get your guard broken. But arguably, that might be worse than getting stunned. Because not only did your stun not go away, but you got opened up anyway. And then the EX ones, they just decrease the amount of time needed to charge. EX ones are always level 2 minimum, and they can be charged to level 3 very fast. So the idea would be, like if you did something, hold on, this is gonna be hard to do with keyboard, but if you did something like that where they blocked it, but you want to fake them out, and they don't get much time to decide. Hold on. I don't get much time to decide what are you gonna do, and you could always just backdash out of it too. So it gives a pretty good mind game ability for Ryu, even if he wants to get in your face. You know, you've got stuff you can do. You can backdash and do other stuff, backdash and wait, backdash and poke. You know, there's all sorts of stuff you could do, and things you could do to kind of like trip them up. And of course, you don't need EX to do that either, but it takes a longer amount of time to sit there, and gives Ken, you know, a minute to decide, where with the EX, you got to decide real quick, what is he going to do? Is he going to let me have it? Is he going to charge it all the way? Is he going to break me? Is he going to wait for me to move? Should I roll? Should I block? Should I jump? What should I do? And so that's the whole thing. You know, or is he just going to backdash and wait for me to do something? You know, that's the whole thing. That's the whole mind game there that I want to procure for Ryu. I think that will be very interesting for Ryu players to be able to force that kind of decision on the other player. And it's not foolproof. I mean, obviously you've got to think about their options, because they can roll, which is projectile invincible. Maybe they've got some way to get around it. Who knows? But the other threat too is the fact that it's a multi-hitting move, right? So you can't just you can't use armor max to counter it. Like sure, you got armor on this, but it's only one hit, right? So sure, you could catch a jab or maybe a single Hadouken, but if you start charging it, it's gonna blow right through it. So it really does amp up Ryu's abilities quite a lot, and that's what I'm hoping to kind of do with this stuff. They should be substantial. They should make you want to use the max modes, right? That's not what I want. What I want to do. Like I want, when you see Ryu do that, I want you to start sweating. And same thing with Ken, and same thing with Terry. They should be very scary times when someone goes into that. And maybe you'll want to counter it with armor max or other things, but yeah, thanks. Me too. If the moment that I can start actually playing people will be very, very fun for me. That's what I'm working on. I can show you what I was doing on the other thing. Where is it? I've got nothing to hide on my Unity screen anymore. I'm not working on any secret things right now. You guys know everything. So I can show that screen. In case you were wondering why I did. Usually I gotta block out the screen. Alright, it's gonna take a second to open. Hey, while you're waiting, if you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe, hit the like. Actually, it does help. If you would be so kind. Or I guess if you're on Twitch, you can subscribe. What else is there? I'm on Facebook. I guess you could like the video on Facebook. I don't know if that does anything. That makes me feel better. If you want to go that route, it makes me feel better, right? That's worth something. Where else? We're on Twitter too. I'm streaming on the Twitter now. So if you like the tweet that the video's in, then that would help too, I guess. Smack that subscribe button like Terry smacks your face. Yeah. Give that subscribe button a power gaze. Alright, so the last thing I was working on, if you're in the Discord, you might have seen it. This is all just like collision shit. Oh, hold on. There, that refreshes my collider info. This is all deterministic collisions and stuff like that. You get to see all the debug things and how the shapes interact with each other and all that crap. And that's all well and good. What I've been working on is save state stuff. So if I go here and I have the save state controller here, it's found automatically. I had to program it to do this. This is not in Unity on its own. But it found the sprite renderer. I'm telling it to save and load. So, I don't know. Use the A button, right? That's my sprite. Is the A button. And we're going to play. And we're going to go to save state. And save state test. And now we're going to go back to this object. And we're going to make it B. We want it to be B. And I'm going to change the object's name to derp because whatever. And then, yeah, that'll do. And then I can go back to the save state here. And we have the save state already. Hold on. There's my time up. That's fine. We'll go a little longer. We do load state. And boom, we're back to A. And the name of the object's back to normal. So I'm working on that kind of stuff. Now we have sort of a save state system in the current build, but it doesn't function as well as this one. So I wanted a chance to revamp the whole system to make it more flexible and give me more options. And one of those was to have the built-in components automatically get detected. And then I could say, well, I don't want that one to save, right? It's not important. We don't need to save state that. Or I do want that to save state or whatever. So that was something that I wanted to do. So in this case, if I turn it off, I don't know if I've tested this yet. Watch it not work, right? I said not to save and load, so I can load state. And yeah, it doesn't change back now. Because I told it not to do that. But if I turn it back on, and load state. There it is. And so the other thing I worked on was serializing it. Now this kind of works. It's not going to work in all situations, but this text here, serialized state, what does that mean? Let me show you what that means. Let me get the URL here. Where is it? Here. I should bookmark this here too. fact, let's bookmark that right on the favorites bar. Okay, so JSON is a serialization format. In other words, it's a text format. And so you can take this whole unreadable mess, right? And this thing will format it for you. And then you can start to see what this does. So when I serialize it, the game object data list, here is the game object. It's instance ID, in other words, it's object ID, right? But then active self, that's whether it's activated or deactivated, and its name. So I'm saving that. And that's where I said the name, I changed to derp, and it came back to that, because that's in there. And yeah, there's two. Save state child, that was the other test object. There were two of them currently hooked up. And then we've got like component data, ID 0. So if we go down here, ID 0, here's the sprite renderer, right? That was our component. And then, yeah, its instance was this. It's component instance, but its sprite instance, this number correlates to that sprite with the A button. And so everything gets broken down like this, right? Oh yeah, I've got the other part of this is this scriptable object gets saved. So if I do 2 and blah blah blah, and I load state, see it's back to 300 and test blah blah blah. So, okay, so the serialization, why is that important? Now, it doesn't work completely yet. There's a lot of things that you have to do to make this work in other ways, but say I save this text to a file, right? And I turn the game off. Whoa, right? And then I can go back in. And let's say that I'm going to change this to B, right? I'm going to change this to whatever. And I go here and I say state to deserialize. So deserialization is taking it from all this text and putting it back into the game, right? So I do test load state from serialized data. That's this one that I pasted in. Boom, look at that. Everything came back. So what it's doing, it's saving that state to a file. It's putting everything in there into words, and then you can send it to another player, say like, and it's not necessarily applicable to Pocket Fighter EX, but say if you're playing Final Fight, right? And I'm pretty sure that the Capcom beat 'em up bundles do this. Because they're emulated, you could take the entire save state of the emulator and send it to the other player. Say you're playing alone, and you get your friend Jimmy. Jimmy hops on, and you're like, hey man, I'm playing Final Fight, come on and join me. So he boots his game up, but you're not in the same spot. Like, you're not playing the same game yet, right? You don't know. You can't just turn on Final Fight on Jimmy's end, and it doesn't know where you are in your playthrough. You're on stage 2, right? Jimmy won't hop in this game. Get out of here with the hops, Tim. So you want Jimmy to play. Well, what it's got to do, it's got to send the save state to Jimmy. Then Jimmy's game loads the game on that where that save state is, and then it hooks both of you together. Then it hooks the multiplayer up, right? So if you had Final Fight, you're on stage 2 or 3, you send that save state to the other player, then they get put in the same spot that you are. It loads up stage 3, it sets up all the characters, where the enemies are, where the characters are, and then you can start the connection for the net play. That's why something like this is important. And again, for Pocket Fighter EX, it's not really applicable because you don't join in the middle of a match, right? You join at the start of a match, so you don't need to use the save state transition. But in the interest of experimenting and thinking about other games ahead, maybe I want to make a game that you can jump in mid-session next time. So I'm thinking about future-proofing that kind of stuff. We're talking about save states, Wendy, and what I've been doing with it. So yeah, you could take this text and save it, or you send it to the other player, and then they load the text into the game. It decodes what's in the text, and then it gets the state, and then it can set up the game in the same way. And there's a lot of other stuff that you have to do to make that work in a more fluid manner. The reason why it works here is because all the objects are already in the testing. But if I start making clones of these objects and start changing some stuff, then it won't know what to deserialize. It may not be able to match up that, oh, this data goes with this object and this one doesn't. Or what if the object doesn't exist? Well, now what? Well, now you've got to make that object and then somehow link in the data that this object goes with this data that's in the save state, and that's complicated. So that stuff I'm leaving off to the side for now, but getting the basics of serialization going is still a good step forward. And you can also use it to compare. If you do this, let me turn that. If you do a save state here and you take this text and you take, say, save state from player 2, take that text and compare them, and you can see where a desync might be. You say, hey, the player's health is off by 2 points between these two save states, right? Because you can read them. You know, you can put them in the formatter and you can read them. So you're like, hey, wait, what's up with that? And that can help you find glitches. Or it can report to the other player that, hey, the game is desync. Sorry, like we have to close the connection. You know, something screwed up. You know, so we're cutting the match short. Something like that. Or you could take that serialized state and save it into a debug file and say, hey, sorry, the match desynced, but would you like to send the developer the information about that? And then you can send that serialization along with the bug report. You know, things like that can really help, especially help me figure out what's wrong and fix the glitches for desyncs and things like that. So that was one major reason that I wanted to get that, even if it wasn't functional to send to another player to get them set up or you know, used as like a save file or something. If I could at least analyze what's there in English, I mean, because, you know, when it's in one big block, not so much, but, you know, you can easily break this down. You like say, hey, we're looking at the object with this name. So maybe instead of this, it would just say Ryu, player 1, or Ken, player 2. And then I can look at the data and say, oh, well, look here. This doesn't match, or that doesn't look right, or whatever. And that really helps to do that kind of stuff. So that's where hopefully that will take me, but that's all the nerdy details, right? Maybe it'll get done this century. It's tough though. It's tough. It's really hardcore work to get that kind of stuff going. That's why it's taking so long. On top of my arms not working and my hand breaking, almost breaking, but still. I'm telling you, man, 2020 and 2021 have not been kind to me. I've not been. You have the whole century. Yeah, it'll get done sometime within the century, right? Do we get any mobile port? Maybe? I don't know. I mean, Unity can technically make Android programs. I want to experiment with it and see what it's like to do the mobile port, but I'm not going to make any promises, and all I can promise is that I'll look into it. But if it doesn't work right, if it's going to be a ton of work to make it work, then I may not be able to devote that amount of time and resources to it. But I definitely want to try it. My concern primarily is, will it even be playable on a touchscreen? Like, maybe all the buttons will work, maybe the directions will work, but would it be humanly playable effectively to be able to fight someone like on an Android? You know what I mean? Without a controller? I don't know. I think about that and I'm like, anybody who wants to play this game with a touchscreen has probably got a few screws loose. They may not realize how hard it would be to control a game like this with a touchscreen, with all the precision and such. I don't think people would like to play it that way. I think people would find it way too difficult to control. But Well, yeah, so let's say controllers, but you can connect a controller to it, right? And do that. And it would make a nice portable version of it that you can just take somewhere. Like, you can hook Android tablets up to TVs and stuff, right? Some of the new ones do that. So, bring over a couple controllers, hook them up with Bluetooth, plug it into the TV, and boom, you've got a portable Pocket Fighter EX station ready to go. And if the game is built for rollback, then it should play deterministically on all platforms. So, touchscreen control is much better than keyboard control. Well, that depends on the game. It really does. You can design a game that's made for touch controls, and it can work great because it was designed with that in mind. When you take a game that's not designed with that, and you try to put touch controls on top of it, then sometimes that doesn't come out so well. And I think that this will be very difficult to play with a touchscreen. But, hey, who knows? And that's why I said I'll look into it. I'll see what it can do. Like, I've tried to make builds, and the builds do somewhat work. As you, the eagle-eyed viewers out there might have noticed, in my builds folder, there is an Android package here, but it's old. This is from October. It technically does work, but I got lots of issues. A lot of controllers don't work with it. I've got issues where, like, sometimes it only lets you map 2 buttons. It's really weird. When I hook my controller up to it, it thinks it's a remote and not a controller, and it gets all kinds of crazy. So it's absolutely not ready yet. So if you're ever wondering, you're like, oh, he's got the Android version, it's right there, how come he doesn't release it? It's because it's broken. And there's lots of visual glitches, and there's no touchscreen buttons on it or anything. You'd have to connect like a keyboard or controller. So it's very rough. I mean, it technically works, but it's in very rough shape. That's why I say I have to dedicate some real time to make that work properly. And we don't know. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. So I promise I'll look at it. That's all I can say. But I do get that question a lot. Oh, and as far as like iOS and Mac and stuff, just to throw that out there too, since it's related, you have to have a Mac computer to do those, and I don't have one. So right now those are no's. I can't do those. Mac computers are notoriously very expensive, and I don't see myself having that kind of money to invest in that. So unfortunately, if we do get a mobile port, it would have to be Android only, unless the financial situation changes, I guess. Oh, thank you very much. The comment says that he loves the development of the game. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, anyway, so yeah, that was the save state stuff. We didn't actually we didn't do anything, but that's okay. I almost broke my hand, so I'm not exactly in the best shape to be doing too much. Oh, you know what? Let's do one thing. I want to get this in the game. I want to get something done today, right? And that's fine. I like answering questions. I'm not faulting you guys. It's my problem. This here. So let me switch to Ken. His new Power Max ability, his new animation for Power Max. We were working on it that one day a couple weeks ago, right? But we never finished it. And Raito cleaned up the frame that I did, so I did a rough draft. And so there it is. And that's the rough one. You can tell the fingers are all mangled, and it's just kind of a rough pose there. So I want to review it, and we'll put it in. So let's see. Yeah, so typically what happens, so when other people contribute, it goes through sort of a review process, and this review process is called correcting or corrections. So when I get something in, if I see something amiss, I might tune it up a little bit. Is this? Yeah, this I think is the right one. Yeah, so he submitted the GIF here, and so it looks like that. But I want to do my corrections, and then no, this is not an open source project. Sorry. Yeah, so I want to do my corrections here, and then we'll put it in. So things I'm going to be looking for are like the torso looks a little thin to me. So I think he needs to get fattened up a little bit. And the other thing, and this was my fault too, the way that the belt here, I think needs to be pulled down, because you're going from here to here. It's not much movement, and if anything, he's moving like his leg up, right? So the flow of these should be more like this. But that was the rough draft too, had that problem, so I don't fault Raito for following that example. So see here? And then they come down, they split apart when they come down. He's moving upward, right? And then boom, he comes down. So I think that they should tug a little bit from that point. He's also readjusting like his torso a little too. I don't know, should they? I keep getting the feeling that they should be pushed back this way. Makes them look like they're not really moving though. Because it doesn't make 100% sense, but at least it looks like they're moving though. Could do it like this. Nah, that's too much movement, I think. Could do it like this. Yeah, a little more subtle. And then they'll come apart when he comes down. Okay, and the other thing that looks a little off to me is the up here. There's a lot of black here, and so you'd want to do something like this maybe, but that also looks like a bit much. So maybe I'll bring this in. Chop that off, make it less jagged. Like Akuma's sleeves are a little bit more pointy. I think that works. The only other thing I would think about is potentially having this. But I don't think that works. You still want to have that separator there, right? Between the red and the skin. I don't like that. I think keeping it like that's fine. And that would make me think maybe we should reduce here. And that makes me wonder, can we just chop it off altogether? We're getting back to what more of the original looks like though. I feel like if yeah, if you're moving up you're not going to get spikes up like this, because that would imply that the characters move down. And these are following the character, so, you know, they're like this, but then they're going to start getting higher and higher as the, bad example. But they'll start animating like this as the character falls down, right? That's a crappy arrow there. Because gravity is, or the air resistance is pushing up. And so this part's going to go up, up, up. When you're going upwards, the opposite is true, where you've got this is now going to turn into this, which is then going to turn into this. And you're getting the resistance, because it's very light material. So if anything, this should be pointing downward, because you've gone from a lower position to a higher position. And in which case, that looks reasonable. You could do it like this. That's not sticking out so much, right? This one, I don't think you've got much of a choice. I think it's gonna have to stay relatively like that. Man, that doesn't even look right. Yeah, I don't know. How was it before? Might have been alright before. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, I think that's alright. It's tough. The Shoto shoulders are kind of strange, right? They have very different shapes depending on what's going on. Sometimes they're pointy, sometimes they're not like this. You just gotta kind of wing it, I guess. Could do technically that. Actually, that looks pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. That actually looks pretty good. And it looks like it's actually trying to go around his shoulder, right? That looks alright. Okay. And then... yeah, that makes sense. You're gonna see a little bit of his chest here. Yeah, alright. That's pretty much, I think, all that needs to be done. Maybe that. What if we move that to there? That looks pretty good. Should that be more like that, I think? Yeah. Yeah, that makes more sense. Keep it from getting too dark there. Alright, the other thing here is the fact that the motion here is kind of backwards. If your torso... well, he is kind of twisting his torso forward though, right? I was gonna say one fear I had here... there. One fear I have here is that he's moving up, right? His body's moving upward. So why would the gi flap be pointing left if his motion was up, right? So it makes me think that this here should be flattened out a little. But this also creates a problem here at this junction. So... welcome to my life. You could do this, maybe. That looks weird. This is a bad junction of pixels over here. It's really bad. It doesn't look right at all. If you want some directionality, you'd want to... you could do this, maybe. have this more like this? I don't know. I think I'm ruining it now. Let's leave it the way it was. Go back. Farther. Okay. Oh, sure. It still bugs me that it's pointing to the left. If anything, it should be pointing the other way. But it does. I guess this doesn't either, right? This just gets shorter. It makes me hate this too. I don't want to make them look too fat, but he does have, like, you know, his chest does occupy space. So you have to think about that. Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad. We can throw that in, I think. So this is actually going to be quite an easy conversion because we already have the frame in his sheets. So let's look at what is it now? Is it Max? Max 2? I wish there was a search within the folder to narrow it down. Or can you? Can you just type in here? No, it doesn't. Okay, Ken KR Max activation 2. Here it is. So here's the frame already, right? And the changes aren't that substantial, so we should be able to just kind of plop it right on top. In fact, we can get rid of the whole thing and just line up the red dot. Make sure that it is properly spaced from the side. And that's pretty much it. And then we can load the palette, the grayscale palette back, and save it. And then the one without anchors, save as... Oh, it doesn't even have the other sprite. That's alright. We can do that. So we go to Ken's. Ken's folder here. Sprites. We don't want to drag it in as a new one. We want to override the old sheet with the new sheet. So it's the same. We want to just copy it that way. The same file name, rather. And then Ken Max activation 2. So here. Oh, the other one was here. Okay. The anchor didn't change, so we don't need to change anything here. So when we go back, come on. Max activation. And there it is. I think it just replaced it wholesale. I don't think we have to do anything special. Oh. Yeah, that looks better. Damn keyboard. Wow. It's really hard to play with keyboard, I'm not gonna lie. At least I find it hard. I'm sure there's other people that can do it. I used to be able to play multi-board with the keyboard alright. Oh. That's not what I want. You know what I'm going for. Oh god, it won't work. Maybe the other side. Oop. Oh, I still can't do it. I'm trying to do this. It's terrible with keyboard. Alright. There we go. Oh. Anyway, you get the idea. So there you go. We'll put it in. Hooray! So I wanted to get that in, especially since I got the Terry one in. But just needed a few minor corrections, and that was it. It's hard to beat the Shoryuken, right? It's just when it whiffs, it whiffs. Anyway, so yeah, that works. There, I did a thing, right? Okay. And I guess that will be it for today. I give my hand a damn rest after all this stuff, right? So, yeah, so if you like what you see here, we do have a Patreon. Or I say we, but it's my Patreon for GameDevScrubs. So if you like what I do, if you like my personal efforts in game development, not just this, but all the other stuff I do in the streaming, and you feel like helping support the show and my efforts, then go hit up that. Where is it? Did my chat close? My chat closed. Oh, the other screen. Yeah, I don't see it here. Hold on. Where's... Did it actually close? What, did it crash? Where is it? I can't believe it crashed. Oh my god. Hold on. I was gonna type the link in chat, but it blew up. Where's my chat? It blew up on me. Here we go. Hello, world. I got it on my tablet, so I can still see what you guys say. But I like having it on here because then I can do stuff like this, and the Discord, and oh yeah, and the game link. So there you go. You want to download the game, try out the current public version, it's there. If you want to try out the more unstable prototype builds, then Patreon's where you want to be. So there's a bunch of rewards there. We got Discord rewards, we got prototype builds of the things that I work on, all that kind of stuff. So if you feel like supporting the streaming and my efforts, and hit that up, and that really helps to keep everything going, licenses paid, and groceries on the table. So, which is really great right about now. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So it is Discord link if you want to check that out. Otherwise, links are down below, unless you're on Twitter, in which case the links are... I don't know where the links are on Twitter. This is weird, streaming in multiple places. But if you're on YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook, the links are down below or in the chat. So that's pretty much it. I gotta get out of here. I gotta rest my hand. It was fun. It was super fun. It was also kind of painful. So we'll see what happens on Thursday. Speaking of which, schedule. So Thursdays typically are Retro Mansion game development day, and that's like a platformer, old school platformer, Metroid, kind of Metroidvania. And then on Sunday, scrubby gameplay. I can't hold a controller yet. I'm not sure if I'll be able to by Sunday, so we'll see about that. We'll put a pin in that, pencil it in, but I don't know if we'll be able to do that day. So other than that, thanks everybody for hanging out and sticking with me, and we'll see you on Thursday. So, see you guys later, and scrub out.